What's up, everybody? Welcome to Waypoints Media Club, where you have discussions on all things movies, video games, TV shows, but never books. Joining me from shared screens is Austin Ernst.
That's me. Hello.
And from Backlog Banter, it's Tucker Hazel. Tucker, how you doing?
I'm doing phenomenally well today. I'm here to talk about Pokemon, which is something that's very important to me.
Yes, our topic today is Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, 2 weeks in.
Ooh.
Little prop comedy there.
So you got Pearl. Austin, which version did you get?
Brilliant Diamond.
Okay, and I also got Pearl.
Wow.
So,
outnumbered. Sorry, Austin. Sorry.
Which is rare. I feel like usually Diamond heavily outnumbers Pearl when you're talking about Gen 4.
I honestly feel like the unpopular choices are making a comeback, because for like Shield, it almost overtook Sword. I know maybe Pearl was the popular one, but when I was asking people before, they were like, "Oh no, I'm getting Diamond. I'm getting Diamond. I'm getting Diamond." But like the more I actually look into it, people got Pearl. So I feel like maybe the unpopular choices that were before are kind of making a comeback on their second life or whatever.
Everyone at my job got Diamond. For
really?
The most part. For the most part.
Never mind.
Frankly, I'd be surprised if there was a huge gap between sales of any of them in any of the dual releases.
No, that's the thing.
I know at launch, Sword and Shield had a really big discrepancy.
Really?
I'm pretty sure.
I've never looked into it, but from what I've heard and like...
I wouldn't know how to look into that. Usually the sales are always counted as the duo.
As one, yeah, because it really is the same game, but...
Yes.
When I've asked people about Gen 4 specifically, to me it's never felt like 50-50. It's always felt like Diamond is way more.
That's why I went Diamond.
Yeah.
Hello.
But I do want to ask you guys just quickly, just give me your general history with the Pokemon franchise, and then more specifically your history with Gen 4 / the Sinnoh region, and also tell me where you're at in the game.
Tucker, you can go first since you're our guest.
All right, I've got a sort of story that connects to all of these questions simultaneously. So I guess I'll just rattle through that. My very first video game was Pokemon Pearl when I was 6 years old. I'm a little bit younger, and that lines up in terms of release. So my history with Pokemon is my history with Sinnoh. Is starting off in the Sinnoh region and not knowing anything about Pokemon. I mean, I'd probably had a few cards, seen a couple episodes of the anime, but certainly never played the game, and never, frankly, played any other video game. So learning Pokemon and playing video games is simultaneous in my brain. For a long time, Pokemon was video games. That's just what it was. And maybe there was Smash on the side, but playing through the Sinnoh region has so much meaning to me because it introduced me to video game playing mechanics. And which is why I'm very interested to talk about this game, because I feel like I can break it down pretty critically because of my insane experience with Pearl.
Yeah.
Complete living decks in Gen 7. So I've...
Sorry, you cut out there. On my end, at least.
You are muted for me, Jordan.
Sorry, Tucker, you cut out there for a second on my end. If you could just get that, so...
The last part.
Yeah, that last part.
Oh, about...
you completed
the
deck.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you have the living decks.
And I've got a living decks in Gen 7, and basically I've done everything you can imagine Pokemon-wise.
Gotcha.
Perfect.
Austin, what about you?
I'm kind of on and off on Pokemon. Like, my first Pokemon was Gold, and I played that game so much. I think I've played through that game 8 or 9 times, which maybe for some people might not be that much, but that's a lot, especially because I don't replay games. Like, it's just not something I do. I used to replay Gold on my Game Boy Color. It was that purple one you could see through.
Nice.
I used to play it every summer. It was just a thing I did every summer. I would just sit on a recliner and play Pokemon for like pretty much, I don't know, the entire summer, because I had no friends. And I was a nerd and no one liked me. But that's okay. This is about Pokemon. That's why Pokemon saved my life in a way. But Pokemon Gold is like my second favorite game of all time. Fallout 3, if you watch any of our content, as you can see back there, is like my favorite game of all time. But Pokemon Gold, like, I've had things in my head where I'm like, maybe Pokemon Gold overcomes it one of these days. But I've played Red, I've played Blue, I've played Gold, I've played Black and White. I dabbled in Black and White too. I've played Silver, I played Crystal. On and off again. I played Sapphire and Ruby, I think. Yeah, I've just never in order. Sometimes I just kind of fall off and I don't play it for a while. That's just kind of my deal. But I know I love the world of Pokemon. I remember I had a bunch of video cassettes of the anime growing up. I just had it'd be like 4 episodes or something like that, and I just popped that sucker in. I always watched the episode where Ash has to ride Ponyta, and at first Ponyta doesn't like Ash, so it burns him. And that was an episode I watched so many times. I don't know why, but I had it, so I popped it in.
That's Pokemon bullshit. That like, oh, if you get the horse to trust you, the fire just won't hurt.
Yeah, that's magic. That's the magic of friendship. Friendship,
yeah.
Clearly, you've never had a friendship good enough where their fire won't hurt you.
I always get burned, let me tell you.
Yeah. And where are you guys?
In more ways than one.
Where are you guys at in the game currently?
I beat it. I beat it a little over a week ago.
Okay, so you're already post game.
Yeah,
I've put in like it says 13-ish hours. I know a lot of that because I play Pokemon very casually. Like I'll be having a conversation with my fiance, I'll be watching something on the Switch. You know, it's awesome. But so I do know for a fact that at least an hour of that is just me kind of holding it and talking to my fiance. You know what I mean? Like it's just, the playtime isn't exactly accurate, but of course. I am like 12 to 13 hours in, and I have 4 badges, and I think I am Pastoria City.
Pastoria City is the 4th badge.
Yeah.
Yep, that's where I'm at. I'm right. Like the route right after that. That's where I'm at.
Gotcha. Okay. So I am currently on Victory Road.
Oh, and I've never played this gen before.
Oh, you've never played Gen 4 game before. Okay.
No Sinnoh. All right.
Gotcha. Nothing. So I'm currently on Victory Road. My history with Pokemon is like Pokemon has just always been a part of my life. Like it's one of my earliest memories with friends in preschool, with family members and the way we bonded. And it was like both my family members, it was more like Pokemon Stadium and Pokemon Puzzle. And then as a kid, I was watching the anime a lot. And I remember having Yellow version. I do not remember beating Yellow version because I was very young when that one came out. And then I dabbled in every game from then on. But like Pearl was the first one that I really truly got lost in, if that makes sense. Like I was probably around like 9-ish when Diamond and Pearl came out, then 10 and 11 when Platinum came out, and just those like I just remember like I would just fly to random towns and just start talking to the same people, being like, did I miss anything? Just go on this route, like get bored, like go through my boxes, find a very low level Pokemon, be like, I'm gonna train this one up now. Let's just see what that's like. Like I would truly just get lost in it. So I do have a very special connection to Gen 4, even though it was not my first Pokemon game.
That was me in Gold, which is, it's weird how it wasn't your first one, because I think for like almost everyone that would talk about this, it would probably be one of their early entries into the Pokemon franchise. Like I would imagine it'd be like your first one you played, but the fact that it was Pearl later like really speaks to the quality that Pearl had, at least on its original release.
Yeah. I can't even explain why that was like the one that like I started to understand the most and that I just truly really played.
How old were you?
Like I said, like maybe 9-ish to 9 to 11 range, because I played Pearl and Platinum. So then you have that release.
Mm-hmm.
That might be why, though. That's like the perfect age to kind of
find a hobby,
find a passion.
Yeah, especially as you're sort of coming into your own in elementary school and talking to other people. For me, Pokemon was my connection to my friends in elementary school, and that continued all the way through high school, and not so much today as I'm in college. But is learning about Pokemon and talking to other people about what is your favorite Pokemon, what memories do you have with this, and talking about the upcoming games. I mean, Heart Gold and Soul Silver and Black and White were such big moments in my childhood, the releases of those games. I mean, all that came from my enjoyment of Pearl, and retroactively getting a Game Boy and playing through Fire Red and Silver and Emerald, and then going forward, playing all the games since then. So I think that's just the perfect age, that sort of early elementary school age where you can really connect to it, because you're right, you played Yellow, but you were 6 or whatever, you don't know what's happening then. So
and I was like, oh cool, Pikachu's following me, and then I'd see that he was sad. I'd be like, what do I have to do to fix it? Like I didn't know how the game worked, I didn't know the mechanics. But like you said, I just loved the world, and I think by the time I actually got to understand the mechanics, I was like, I really can just get lost in this region. And then there was also like friends that had action replays or Game Sharks coming over and adding the cool stuff to my game, because like if it's a single player game, I truly do not care if you cheat, like whatever. And so like I had a shiny Umbreon that I brought with me through the Battle Frontier in Platinum, and like I remember that clearly. I had a friend that lived all the way in Pennsylvania. I'm from upstate New York. That me and him would just walk up. Like I remember having to get really close to my router because the DS sucked, and like me and him would just talk through the mic on the DS and just battle, but none of us understood EVs or IVs, or which in a way made it more fun because
I still don't.
Like I've gotten better at competitive battling, but I've never tried to breed for a team. I just do it all in Showdown, where it's just I can make it for me. But like it was almost more fun just to be like, I think this is cool.
Yeah.
So I definitely have very, very fond memories of Pearl. Well, the Sinnoh region as a whole, because I do like Platinum a little bit more.
Yeah, and I think that's going to factor into a lot of what, especially I'm discussing here, as Platinum. Pearl was my first one, but Platinum I think is what really makes Sinnoh what it should be in a lot of regards. And with their remake, it doesn't quite carry over a lot of that, and it sits in a weird place because of that.
It definitely does. So, onto the real topics. Like, what are you guys' thoughts on the game so far? How are you enjoying it? Any major likes? Any major dislikes?
So as my first time playing this Gen 4, I'm bored. It's like the game is kind of boring, and I don't know if that's just the art style. I know that sounds like a knock against it. I don't think the art style is bad. I just think there's nothing about it that pops for me. And I just think, so I'm going around, it doesn't really pop out like the environments that I'm traveling on route to route and all that. It just seems very generic in a way. And I know this sounds negative, but I'm telling you, like, it's just fine on the way it looks, and I'm just bored. Like I'm getting what I want out of it because I just want to be another Pokemon. Like I would play literally any Pokemon game right now. Like I just have that itch, and I've never experienced this before, so it's nice. I don't know who these gym leaders are. I don't know like the Team Galactic. Is that what it is?
Galactic.
Yeah, I don't really know what their deal is, but the thing that I loved the most out of Gold and pretty much everyone is when you had to deal with, not every game because some of them kind of botch it, but on the original Gold and Red and all that, when you deal with the Team Rocket, that was my favorite that aspect of that game, is like uncovering what their goal is and taking that over and stopping them, because those fights were my favorite, honestly, in all the franchise. Even in Elite Four, those were my favorite because it felt the most Pokemon, where it's like, at least anime Pokemon, where it's like you're just showing up to a place and there's just some dude causing a ruckus and you're like, let's battle. This is how we do things. It's a wild, wild west out here. Yeah. So I love that aspect. But yeah, I'm generally bored, and that might be my fault, because I feel like I'm not encountering hardly any Pokemon. I've probably caught like 30. Like, I'm 13 hours into this game, but I don't go to the underground. Is that why I am bored? I don't feel any reason to go down there. Like the game has not incentivized me to do it at all. It just says this is how you do it, and then it moves on. And I'm like, cool.
I would definitely say
go on.
I was gonna say the underground. I'm not gonna say is gonna 100% change your opinion or fix the experience, but I do think it's gonna add to it. I think you're gonna see the charm behind it. The digging for stuff is gonna be fun. Finding the fossils, the stones, and then there are the little caves in the underground that have different Pokemon that aren't normally found above ground, or if they are, they're found in higher levels and stuff.
Yeah, about that. So just because you brought up a shiny earlier, shinies I don't care about. Like that's just not something I do in Pokemon games. I've never cared. I've encountered them randomly, and I'm like, holy shit! Like I have to get this now, but like I never go out of my way to get it.
Oh yeah, no, I find the random encounter shiny so much more fun than shiny hunting.
100%.
Yeah, for sure.
I was. Oh, sorry.
Can I get this out just before I forget?
Go ahead.
I'm not someone who does like the hunting at all for Pokemon. Like if it's a difficult catch, if I fail 2 or 3 times, I don't care. I'm just bouncing. Like I don't need this Pokemon. That's not how I play these games. So, like, the fact that you go to the underground, because I like Houndoom, and the first time I went to the underground, just up, like, I've never gone down here, let's see what this is. I go down there, there's a Houndoom, I'm like, holy shit, I want that Houndoom. And it's like, they're harder to catch, good luck, and I waste all my Pokeballs, because I'm level, like, my highest Pokemon level is, like, 19, and I'm just like, I have Pokeballs, that's it. And it's like, I throw a Pokeball, and it immediately jumps out. I'm like, this isn't going to happen, is it? And I'm like, this is not the part of the game that I enjoy. Gotcha. So I think maybe it was just the time that I went down there and the area that I went into, because I know it correlates to where you're at, kind of, in a way. But
Pokemon's levels, I believe, scale with how many gym badges you have. Yes. So while it is above your normal level, it's going to keep being that throughout the course of the game, unless you are spending the time to raise up your Pokemon team enough to take on those underground Pokemon.
And I understand the level of challenge there, and I commend that. Where I like challenges in battles. I don't like challenge of catching Pokemon. That's just not why I play these games.
Yeah.
So the battles are easy. I'm literally one-hitting everyone. I'm not even trying to. I literally went out of my way to use moves that I knew wouldn't do a lot of damage, and I was still almost like two hitting everyone, and I'm like, okay, like I need to stop. I have 5 Pokemon. I don't have 6. Technically, I do. I have 6. I hatched an egg, and it was a Happiny or whatever. I just have that in my party right now. It's just not my 6th. But I have Infernape. I have Gyarados. I have Kadabra. I have the final evolution of Luxray.
Luxray, yeah.
Yeah. And then my dogs are whining, so I'll take them out in a second. And my other one is Staraptor. Like this version's Pidgeot, essentially.
Sounds like you've got the Sinnoh team.
The Sinnoh team, because Staraptor is the coolest of all the regional birds.
It does look dope, but like Pidgeotto has dope hair too. You know what I mean? Like the swoof, and Staraptor's kind of playing on that a little bit.
But Austin, quickly before you take out your dogs.
Yeah.
Do you find the game boring because it's easy, or do you truly find the events and the story and the places you're going to boring as well? Because I'll admit Pokemon has gotten easier in the past few years, but I also do believe part of it is just I'm an adult now and I understand how this works.
Yeah.
If you ask me what the story is at all, I couldn't tell you.
Gotcha.
I don't know. Just because I'm so and maybe it is the challenge in the battles. Maybe it's just too easy. Maybe that is what's doing it for me. And it's kind of turning it off. But I love the mechanics of this world. Like it's a Pokemon game through and through, and that's what I'm enjoying. I just want to be in that kind of world. But yeah, it's not challenging me at all. It's not engaging. Like I literally play this casually, paying attention, and I'm just like hitting the button. Like I use this attack, cool, whatever. And I'm literally one hitting everyone. And it's just like I don't know. So maybe it is the challenge. I'm not entirely sure. I'm gonna let my dogs out because they're freaking out. Be right back.
We'll let him do that real quick so that we can hear everything we have to say.
I've got a lot of stuff to respond to there.
Yeah.
For a lot of interesting reasons.
And it's not a shared screens video if somebody's pet doesn't get in the way for a few minutes.
Yeah, there could be a cat under my bed. There
could be. I like the could. Is it your cat?
It's my roommate's cat, but my roommate's never home, so it's basically my cat.
But it's a cat that does belong in your house.
Oh yes. Okay, it's not
just checking.
Yeah, there's holes in the walls, cats getting in left and right.
I'm not even kidding. I have seen a cat like that was in a house where it was not supposed to be. I could tell that story later if you guys want, but I've seen cats just show up in houses where they weren't supposed to be. I was telling Tucker, it's not a shared screen video if your pet doesn't cause a disturbance, and he says there may be a cat under him, but I just had to check that it was a cat that is supposed to live with him.
Sure, okay.
All right. But Austin, just one last thing. What is there anything you are enjoying? Like, what would you say the pros are so far?
It's Pokemon. Like I really don't like, and I'm not trying to, because I know this specific gen and that is important to you, and I'm not trying to put it down.
No, but it's fine. Like I want to hear this.
I don't think this, because we've had other remakes of like Pikachu and Eevee, and I fucking loved Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. I love that. That might be my favorite Pokemon. Not the ones I played the most or like the best one, but it might be my favorite one. I love that game so much. And then what came after that? There was another remake, right?
Sword and Shield.
There's just Sword and Shield.
Maybe it was just Sword and Shield, and I enjoyed Sword and Shield for what they were. And I feel like out of those 3, this is at the bottom of the poll for me. And I don't know why. I just think if the Gen 4 was important, if it had these things that you guys are raving about, it would be my guess that this remake is not doing it justice. I have no way to know that because I did not play it, but my gut is telling me not that this is a bad remake. It just it didn't do justice to the original, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So I've got a lot of stuff.
I know that didn't answer your question. It was a roundabout way.
Fine.
You asked for the pros, and as terrible as I can't give you one. Besides, it's a Pokemon world, and I'm enjoying that aspect of it because I just love Pokemon so much. But like, that's all I really got for you.
Okay, that's fair. No, that's definitely fair. Tucker?
Yeah, I can definitely agree with most of that. I actually come down in a very unique place. Now, this is my first video with you guys. I'm very much enjoying getting to know you through this conversation.
Make yourself at home.
Everyone here on shared screens, you're not my friends. Come say hi to me on Twitter or whatever. But I'm a big Pokemon fan, as I've said. I can talk Pokemon everyone's ears out if they need to. I reviewed this game with my friend a few days ago on our channel. I think that if from my perspective, almost categorically, this is the weakest entry in the entire mainline Pokemon franchise. And I say that from a lot of different angles. I have copious notes taken on this game because I think this sits in a really weird place where it just makes me yearn for both the older games and the newer games. It has such a weird convergence of design philosophies that take, frankly, I think the worst elements from both of them and mishmash into something that I think has basically no personality and really no reason to play it over any other entry in the franchise.
Interesting.
I know that's very harsh, but
that's
what I'm coming here for.
You seem like an expert.
Expand on
your
that
first
a little
game, you
more?
love it. So.
Sure, yeah. So actually, one interesting thing that you were saying, Austin, I think is probably the biggest problem with this game is lack of variety. This has, I think, pretty much without competition, the weakest regional decks of any Pokemon game, because Sinnoh did a really interesting thing where they added post and pre-evolutions to previously existing Pokemon lines. So you adding Elekid and Electivire to Electabuzz, you're adding Magby and Magmortar to Magmar. It fills out that, but what that means is that a lot of the regional Sinnoh decks is based around reutilized Pokemon from older gens. You've got your Geodudes and your Zubats and your Wurmples and your Onix. And outside of that, the new Pokemon that are added are relatively sparse. And what that means is that going to a new route, and I think, Austin, this is what you were feeling, it's very rare for you to encounter a new species of Pokemon. And that makes it very bland to want to explore.
If I can just put it real quick, I encountered a Cricketune, and I was like, oh shit! Like, of
exactly,
all things,
exactly.
Now I'm like, oh.
But that's an evolution of a Pokemon you find on the second route of the game. At and this is the worst offender of it, in the Victory Road, which is where, Jordan, I think you said you were at,
yeah.
The entire decks of possible Pokemon to run in there, none of them are Sinnoh Pokemon, and they're all evolutions of Pokemon you fought before. There is nothing new on Victory Road, and that's the last route in the game, barring post-game content. And it's because the regional dex is so flawed that I find myself no reason to want to explore, very weird encounter rates, very, kind of boring to build a team, which is why I think a lot of people gravitate towards the Luxray, Staraptor, Roserade, Empoleon. Like, there's a Sinnoh team, because those are the ones that work, that are the best, and very clearly so. And I know people give the newer gens a lot of hate, but I think that variety is so important in Pokemon for that collection aspect, and the exploration aspect, and the world building, that having a really weak and uninspired regional dex takes all the fun out of the game, from every aspect, I believe.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Okay. So, taking in everything you guys said, I am having so much fun with this game.
Okay, all right.
Yet I am, in some areas, so disappointed. And it's it's the weirdest combination. Now, I'm not going to go on my whole rant about how I feel about the art style. I have done it several times on this channel. You can find that video from when we had our reaction to the Pokemon Presents how I feel about the art style.
If I could just paraphrase that with one word, I think you use this, it seems uninspired. Like, the art style that seems uninspired, where, like, if the image for this game was this at the beginning, and then the saving grace for this is the fact that the battles aren't in this art style. I think definitely. I would lose my mind if I had to play and stare at these little chibis, which, again, I don't think they're bad. It's just there's something about it, like, uninspired to an extent, and I don't know. I don't want to be too harsh, but, like, with the trailer of seeing the art style, I was like, yeah, it's kind of cute. Like, I like it. Like, it's okay. And then in practice, in actually playing it, I'm like, it's kind of boring, and I hate that I'm saying that, but it's just the truth.
So, so the art style is what it is. Okay, I've come to accept that. The camera does not exist. But the problem,
no, of course not. Yeah.
But the problem is, it's not a 100% top-down the way every game before X and Y were.
To a degree, I do think it sort of emulates the
but that's the thing. It's not behind the shoulder. It's really more at an angle. And the fact that the camera doesn't work, like, I'm gonna send this clip that I have to whoever's editing this to put it in at this point. So whoever's editing this, do your magic.
Have fun.
But there is that route right before Pastoria City. There is a few like little cliffs that you need rock climb for, and then you could go get a Pokeball that is next to one of the buildings that is blocked off.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Between Pastoria and Sunny Shore over on the side.
Yes.
Oh crap!
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. That's the question. Do I get rock climb later?
You do.
Is that something?
It's the last one you get.
Okay.
Waterfall is after that.
Sorry.
But...
Yeah, it's the second to last one you get.
Yeah.
And to get to this Pokeball, which just holds a generic TM, it's nothing super important. You can't see where you're supposed to rock climb because you can't.
I know that exact spot. Oh my god.
I basically saw the corner of the color of what the rock climb like things look like. I was like, oh, like let me do this, and like I just kind of keep walking along the edge blindly, just pressing A.
Yes.
So there's that,
and hoping it interacts with something.
Yeah, and like it did, but it was a bitch to go through. So there's that.
Yeah.
The second thing is the cutscenes look fucking like I can't take any of the Team Galactic people seriously.
No,
they look like these fucking troll dolls that just. It's very awkward when you walk up to them and they're just angry, and I'm like, I want to pinch your cheeks. Like I don't care if you're Cyrus. Like
I don't care if you're trying to legitimately end the entire reality that we're living in. When you're in Spear Pillar and Cyrus is going to talk about destroying the universe, and he waddles up with his arms sticking out the sides, and there's like 3 separate frames of facial animation for him, it's very hard to take any of the characters seriously, especially because they aren't very threatening, because they're little Roblox guys, but also because the art style doesn't have any sense of like place or realism to it because it's very flat. And I think it's a combination of it not being very inspired, technically it being the chibis and stuff, which I think is a cool concept, but you look at Link's Awakening, you look at Animal Crossing, all these games, characters with big heads.
So
that it doesn't have an art style that backs that up.
It's funny you say that. Sorry, Austin, I'll finish up quickly. The last game I played right before this, I actually had to finish the boss battle before I started Pearl, was Link's Awakening.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Link's Awakening never really zooms in on the faces in the same way. The proportions are a little different. And like you're saying, the facial animations are not dynamic enough. Because, let's look at the newer Lego games. Like, Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga is coming out later next year.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. The facial animations on those Legos are dynamic enough that I'm not saying I would actually be scared, but I can see a scene happening where I'm like, that is generally intimidating. Like, I get the emotion that they are attempting to convey. So
can I counter that with something? In retrospect, and this was an idea I always had, but I never knew if it was actually going to be in practice. And I don't get that feeling in practice, but I'm just still curious what you guys think of this. Do we think the art style was uninspired, or do we think the art style was trying to play homage to the classic looks?
I've got an exact answer for that. Okay, I think it's trying to pay homage to the classic looks because that is the cheapest way to recreate Sinnoh, and Ilka doesn't know what they're doing to create a new engine for a video game. I think that's exactly the answer. Everything here could have been impressive if they had more time and budget allocated to them. I really think that the game just feels cheap. This art style needs better texture work, it needs better color palette, it needs more detail, because if they were legitimately like Link's Awakening, toy sort of characters with a sheen on them or like sort of little felt textures or something like that, it could be a really compelling way to recreate DS sprites. But what we get, I think, is on par with Wii games in terms of detail and graphical fidelity, and that's really disappointing. I think it just comes down to people want a Sinnoh remake, and that's how I feel about a lot of this game, as I'll get into. People want a Sinnoh remake. What's the easiest way we can recreate Sinnoh? Let's just sort of put it in 3D, and they'll eat it up, and which we are. The game's selling very well, but, you know.
And the other thing is, the graphics or the art style, like, it's not consistent. There are certain things that look great, and then things that are either the same thing or very, very close to it don't. Like, look very, very bad. And
I think it's funny how you're like, I'm not going to go too much into the art style, and then we've been talking about the art style.
But I think the art style is very important.
No, that's the thing. I'm not talking about why I dislike the art style. I'm saying legitimate reasons as to why the fidelity of the graphics aren't good, because you could have made them chibis and still made the facial expressions more dynamic, like I said with the Lego games. There are some areas where things look really good, and then another area where things look very bad. If it was still a Sword and Shield engine game and I saw that, I feel like that's still something noteworthy. And like, here was another example of like it not. I did say this. I'll repeat this line. The originals, sure, you could argue they were chibis, but they were pixelated. You can't just add a third dimension and go, this works now, because now the proportions are very different.
Yes.
And I'll give you an area where I noticed that the most. The route above the city with the daycare that I always have trouble pronouncing.
Salacion Town.
There is extra tall grass in that route. I did not remember that in the moment, and my bike wasn't going through it. And then when I tried to use my bike in the grass, I was like, oh, this must be a weird glitch that it's reading the glass as or the grass as like a building. And the reason I did not remember it was tall grass was because my character does not get engulfed by it the way you do in the originals.
It's just like a little bit of your hat peeking out.
But
in the
it really
ones.
doesn't look that different than the rest of the grass in the game. It does when you put them next to each other, but it looks like more of a different style. Sorry, Austin.
I didn't even notice it. No, it's okay. I didn't even notice a difference when I was in the grass. Like, I could tell there was a difference in the grass just because, I don't know, I got lucky and I could tell the difference in the grass when I first looked at it. There's just like a darker shade, it looks slightly different, whatever. But if you were to put two patches, one after the other, and I drove through both of them and there were two different patches, I couldn't tell you which one was which by just like the detail of you driving through them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, I understand what you're getting at, and I agree. It didn't bother me at all. Like, I wasn't like, oh my god, this is terrible. I learned how to tell the difference, and I was like, cool.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
But a lot of this stuff, I think, comes from, as I was saying, personally, this feeling kind of cheap. It really doesn't do what the past remakes have done, which is make the region of Sinnoh feel more alive than it was. This is a one-to-one recreation with all the faults included that I think really shines a light on how, frankly, poorly designed a lot of the map of Sinnoh is. It's a lot of repetitive textures. It's a lot of really bland rocks and grass and trees that, Austin, I think you were saying you found it like sort of uninspired to walk through because there is a lack of visual variety here that I think could have been patched over if they had given different tree textures to the swamp versus the icy area, or different kinds of rocks or color palettes to different areas. But they really just didn't, and I think that makes it not very interesting to explore, and also just very clear that, hey, we have one tree texture, let's just use it for the entirety of this game.
I agree with everything you're saying. Totally. Uninspired. They didn't have a lot going for like making us enjoy the getting from point A to point B. There's nothing there to visually grab your eye, really. But I wouldn't say they didn't try. So there are points where there's like puddles on the ground. There are points where you're going up these hills, and there's this. I just got to a place where I don't even know what it is, but there's like a long piece of wood stretching. I don't know what it is yet.
It's a tiny bike path stretched above the ground.
Cool.
You can only get across it if you're riding your bike.
Got it. And then before on this route that I'm on currently, there's like tar or something on the ground.
It's like
mud.
Yeah, that you get stuck in.
God, that's so annoying. Oh my god.
I didn't really understand that because when I first went in it, I just ran through it. I had no problems at all. So then when I was on my way back or going through another patch of it, I got stuck. And I just sat there for a bit. And I'm like, what is happening? I literally sat there staring at my screen for a solid 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to move. And
you gotta just mash the stick, I think.
I figured that out. that out. But initially, I was just like, what's happening? There's no audio cue. There's your Pokemon doesn't react to you. Looks, I had Luxray or whatever following me around. Actually, no, I think I had Happiny because it's funny. Like, also, do any of you have Gyarados?
No.
I have. I mean, I play Pokemon collecting as much as I can, so I have a Gyarados. I never used it. It's just in my box.
Got it. Yeah, I had him follow me on accident. I clicked on the wrong guy, and he is itty bitty. He is so small. Yeah. Why is Gyarados like smaller than me?
They did that with the scaling for all of them. But I do want to actually talk.
But Happiny's huge. Happiny looks bigger than Gyarados.
The scaling for all of them is they're your size.
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate it. I would, honest to God,
I've got a lot to talk about
than be like
Pokemon.
Same.
Yeah, some of the animations are creepy. I've seen the TikToks, but I honestly wish that they just said no to some of them. If they were going to do this scaling up and down, I wish they're just like, no, you can't have this one follow you. Because what would happen is I'm like, oh, that sucks, and I move on. Like I never would have been like screaming because my Luxray can't follow me around. Like I've been like, cool, I don't care. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, no, I was going to talk about following Pokemon, but before we get to that, because it looks like we all have some things to say about it. Another thing that I'm noticing with, like, there is this weird pause when you're about to get into a battle, or when
for the first time in a route.
No, or
right?
Not even the first time, or it's a wild, or it's a wild battle. Like, you'll be walking and your character stops, the game, like, freezes, and then goes into the animation to start the battle. Or somebody comes up, you know, they get the little explanation point, camera changes, you see them walk up to you. Then the camera goes back out, pauses for a second, and then the battle starts. Like, so there are just some general performance issues when you're entering a battle.
Yeah, again, this is when I'm playing Pokemon, I don't ask for much. That does not bother me. It works every time. It eventually works. And when we're saying the hiccups, like it literally takes half a second. Like it's just half a second longer.
But it's a noticeable half second.
I agree. And the only time I've really experienced this, besides maybe one or two times where it happened a few times in a row or whatever, it's usually only when I'm picking up the game again. Like I've saved, I put it down, I come back, and then I'm in my handheld mode and I'm playing again. And then the first time I go into the grass, it does a little hiccup, and then it goes, and then it doesn't do it again for the rest of my play session, except for maybe a few instances, which very rare. Maybe it's only happened once or twice after like I just pick it up or I load a save or whatever. And the exclamation mark thing, I have not experienced that. So I just want that on record that I had never experienced. It's only been like either the first time I enter a route and I go into the grass for the first time and hiccup for a second, and then I'm in, and then I never have that issue again, or I'm reopening a save or whatever, and I'm playing it for like the first couple minutes that I'm playing my current save.
Gotcha.
So, and maybe I'm just being too lenient, but that does not bother me that much because, like I said, it's never once just closed out. It's never once just done anything actually negative to me, the player, besides, oh no, I had to wait half a second more. Yeah, also, when I click onto this game to open it, it takes forever, and I don't know why.
Yep.
That bothers me. Isn't the right thing, because again, I don't care that much. Like it doesn't take that long. It's like maybe 30 seconds, but that's a long 30 seconds for a game that seems cheapy and weird.
It's 30 seconds on a black screen. There's no indication. Like, I don't know why it's taking so long to just load the animation of the intro music.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the text where it says like Pokemon Company 19 whatever.
Like
it takes forever for that to pop up. I'm like, oh no. The first time I opened the game, I closed it. I was like, oh, something happened.
The reason I focus a little bit and take criticism for things like that, like loading times, like pauses, stuff like that.
They're worthy of criticism. I want that.
Yeah.
They are worthy of criticism. They didn't bother me personally.
The reason I think they do for me, as someone who's played every single Pokemon game, is this doesn't happen in Pokemon games. Pokemon games are very polished. They don't really have those kind of bugs and errors. As they've sort of rushed out a lot more games and gotten more ambitious, it's become more and more frequent, but this is by far the most buggy and glitchy Pokemon release. I mean, people are posting all sorts of stuff about this game.
The studio's like never done this before, right?
This is their first own game, though. They also had a ton of support studios, but their previous projects...
that's worth mentioning.
Yeah. They aren't very experienced. Their previous projects are supporting for other studios and making Pokemon Bank and Home, which are menus.
I don't know if they did this completely from the ground up. Maybe it was just the port, but they did the longest video game title in the world, Dragon Quest. Not Dragon Quest. Is it Dragon Quest or Dragon Age? Which one's the JRPG? Which one's the...
Quest. Dragon Quest 11.
Echoes of
Elusive Age, Definitive... Yeah, that whole thing.
They did the port.
They did the port, but then that port also has the ability to switch between the original graphics and the new graphics.
Yeah, that's right.
And I played the demo for a few seconds of that, for like a couple minutes of that game. They don't let you switch in the graphics in the demo, but that game ran fine, and it's closer to Sword and Shield than it is Diamond and Pearl.
It's better than Sword and Shield. Dragon Quest 11 looks amazing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I also have, and this is literally just a theory, and this might sound blasphemous, and I'm not talking about
after you say this theory, I have to go get my dog.
Okay, I am not talking about the performance of the game. I'm talking about some of the creative decisions to make this as close of a one-to-one remake as possible, which I do think has been a hindrance.
Mm-hmm.
I think Masuda can't go past his own vision. And I think that might be where part of the issue came from. Because they were like, hey, he will still be the director of the remakes. We're just having Ilka do it, not Game Freak.
Well, I don't know if he's the director. I think he's just like sort of an executive producer role. Like he's still helping with it, but I don't think he was the director of the game. I just remember that from the trailer.
You're right. Director may not be the actual title he has, but the wording they used during the initial reveal made it sound like he was playing a fairly significant role. I think he said that they said he's leading the team.
Yeah, I think he's actually like maybe co-director or something. Him from Game Freak, and then whoever.
When you go visit the two game directors in that route before Pastoria City, neither of them are him.
Masuda?
Were like they were in the originals. But part of me wonders if he couldn't see past this vision he had to translate Sinnoh into a behind-the-shoulder point of view.
Yeah, that's interesting. Look, I'm on the Wikipedia page for Junichi Masuda, and looking at both the remakes, which I think are the gold standard for remakes, which is Heart Gold, Soul Silver, and Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. He's not the director for those, so I do think that you're right. There might be a little bit of hesitancy there to try something new, because he's in a role for a remake, which, as far as I can tell, he's never done before. He was a director of Fire and Leaf Green, which are also very close to the originals.
But here's okay.
How would that explain the technical hiccups?
No, I'm saying I'm not talking about the technical
just
hiccups.
The ambition of the game.
Like, the ambition of the game, and I do think that the 1-to-1 has been a detractor in some ways. And we finally brought up some of the older remakes. Let's talk about those.
Mm-hmm.
Fire Red and Leaf Green are better than Red, Yellow, and Blue in every way.
Yes.
Gen 1, like, it's nostalgic, but it's a fucking mess code-wise.
Yeah.
Okay. Heart Gold, Soul Silver...
And also connection on parity to the current Gen 3 games. They look the same as the Hoenn games, and also you can trade between them.
Yes, that is also something that I made a point of when I was ranting about the art style initially, is that it's always been a translation into the current art style. But Heart Gold, Soul Silver... Yeah.
Crazy fact. Pokemon Gold's like my favorite game almost of all time. I've never played Heart Gold. I know, I've never played it. I didn't have a DS. I just didn't play it. So I have been begging for that game to come to Switch. And there were rumors about it for a while, and I'm like, I don't know.
Heart Gold and Soul Silver coming to Switch?
Yeah. There were rumors about it.
There were rumors that they were just going to be straight up ports, like I imagine, like similar to Virtual Console stuff. But if they were to do that, the next things to be ported would be GBA 3rd gen games.
Sure. No, I'm with you. But there were rumors, and I'm like, cool. If rumors usually lead to something.
Just do you have
something? Not always.
Do you have a 3DS?
I did.
Oh.
Weird story. I bought a 3DS for something. I don't remember what it was, but I got so bored and then just sold my 3DS. The only game I bought a 3DS. I played Kingdom Hearts.
You get what I'm hinting at here, Austin?
No.
Okay, I'll tell you later.
Okay, I bought a 3DS. I played Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance, underrated game. I really liked that game as far as the Kingdom Hearts games go. And that is the only game I ever owned on 3DS. And then I sold my 3DS.
Well, I think that's your problem there, is there's other 3DS games to play.
Yeah. By the time I got a 3DS, I looked for games and nothing interested me. And I was like,
3DS was a Pokemon machine.
Oh, 100%. Sure. Yeah. This is my newest 3DS. This is the Galaxy Edition new Nintendo 3DS. This thing's so beautiful. It's one of my favorite things I own.
See, I want the Pokeball 2DS XL.
Ooh, that's another great one. They did a lot of great special editions.
They did. But, okay, so you have Heart Gold, Soul Silver, which to a lot of people are some of the most ambitious and have the most content of any Pokemon game in there.
Yeah,
I want to play. I want to play.
But Heart Gold and Soul Silver, every remake has... because Pokemon always wants to double dip, they, at least in title, have remade the pair of games, not the definitive edition of the game, the third one. Your Yellow, your Crystal, your Emerald, etc., etc.
Yes.
But Heart Gold and Soul Silver incorporated some elements of Crystal storyline into theirs.
Yeah.
Omega
and Ruby, all the improvements and such. Like, you can be Lyra in that game. Well, it's not Chris, but, you know.
Yeah. Okay, and then Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire added the Delta episode, which basically took the story events of Emerald and incorporated them into the tail end of Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. And for the record, I am okay that they haven't announced a Platinum equivalent yet. I'm okay if they're like, hey, we're doing this now. It's the whatever episode, and you get to do the story editions from Platinum, because I do think that's I'm okay with them announcing that later. That's not
as DLC or something.
Yeah, but Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire also did do some changes to the way Ruby and Sapphire originally worked that helps it out. And now, Tucker, you brought up the Platinum decks versus the Diamond and Pearl decks, which is, I didn't remember this until I started just looking into it, and like, I did not realize how much of a mess that decks was. Austin, 100%. Since you did not play them, a lot of those older generation Pokemon, they got evolutions. Electivire, Magmortar, Rhyperior, Togekiss. They are not in the Diamond and Pearl Pokedex. You do not get them until you unlock the national dex.
Yes.
Post-game, for the most part. Or you have to at least see every Pokemon in the Sinnoh Dex. Meaning...
So that's Rhyhorn, that's Dusknoir, that's Glalie, like all this stuff that is supposed to be a core part of the new Pokemon added. They just literally are not available before you beat the champion.
And that ended up really hurting, specifically, the gym leaders. Because
oh my god,
the electric gym leader has an Apom and an Octillery.
An Ambipom, an Octillery, a Luxray, and whatever.
A Raichu. But like 2 out of his 4 are not electric types. You see the same thing with the Ice Gym Leader, where she does not have... And they've had that issue before, but they have 4 gens of Pokemon to choose from. Their Platinum teams, fucking awesome.
They're phenomenal, yes. And the gym designs are better in that game as well.
Yeah. Gym puzzles, I can... Whatever. I'm okay with.
I just went through the water gym. I don't remember the guy's name. Big buff
Crasher Wake. He's my favorite.
I love Crasher Wake. He's great.
He was the first gym leader and gym layout that I was like, this is a gym. Like the first 3 leading up to that, I gave 0 fucks about. Like, I'm sorry, I did not care. This was the first gym I walked into, and I was like, huh, okay. This seems familiar.
It's a reasonably interesting puzzle.
What I like, you know?
So the fact that they didn't go, hey, the gym teams in Diamond and Pearl were really sucky. Let's say that this is Diamond and Pearl. Let's go with the Diamond and Pearl story. But let's give them their Platinum teams. The fact that was not a thing
seemed like an easy win from what you guys are saying.
It's wildly upsetting because to go back to Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, they gave some of those gym leaders and Elite Four members Mega Evolutions.
Yes.
Which was a mechanic at the time. I'm not looking at the lists off the top of my head, but I think some of them, at least in the rematch teams, got evolutions that did not exist in the original 3rd gen.
It could be true, though I don't remember how. I don't know how many evolutions to Hoenn Pokemon exist post Hoenn.
Well, there's also some
like Obstagoon, but
there's also like the electric gym leader in one of the Hoenn games. I don't remember if it's the pear or if it's an Emerald. Uses a Magnemite or a Magneton. So
I see what you're saying. Oh, yes.
They could have used a Magnezone.
100%.
If they didn't have it in the main story, it definitely would be in the rematch team. Now, in the rematch team for the gym leaders, you get most of their Platinum teams. You actually get some of the very well-crafted competitive teams. Like, the gym leader rematches are not to be fucked with. But the fact that you guys couldn't do that, like, just give them the Platinum teams, just, again, seems like you can't just do 1-to-1 and call it a day.
Yeah, because I think recognizing the flaws of the original and building upon them to categorically improve as a remake is very important.
Yeah.
As I say, it seems like the main reason you do a remake is to see the small things that were wrong. This is a great game, let's make it better. You know what I mean? And from what you're telling me, they didn't do that almost at all.
The only thing I can think of is the HMs, because basically since Gen 7 we have not gotten HMs.
Thank the Lord. Seriously, the HM system in this is vastly better. Obviously, you don't have to have a HM slave on your team, which is great. But the Poketch sucks so bad. Oh my god, I hate the Poketch.
I never use it.
So that, Austin...
You will need to. Yeah. For one specific HM. There's one HM called Defog, which you need to bring your Poketch up in order to use it.
I just have mine. I just have it hidden. It's gone. I don't need this.
Quick tangent, but I had my pedometer on, and I was tracking it and checking it regularly, and I missed 69 420, and I'm so disappointed in myself. Like that day at work, I was like, "Oh, I'm at 67." Like I bet you tonight. And then the next day, just the car started playing, and I remembered. I was like, "Oh no."
Yeah. Poor thing.
I wanted the 69 420 so bad.
Oh, also, so you said you don't need an HM slave. Is it like for me? It's Bidoof. Like, is it always a Bidoof? That was just a dumb question.
That is a very meta joke where, because Bidoof evolves into a water type and Sinnoh has a shit ton of HMs, like 5 HMs just to get through Victory Road, meaning that you needed more than one HM mule if you wanted to get through Victory Road.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you could use one because Surf is a legitimately good move and you'd have it on a Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of made it a joke by making each of them a Bidoof for the most part, other than Defog and Fly.
Yeah.
But again, feels a little lazy, because I would have loved if Surf was a Gastrodon and it was kind of like an X and Y when you would surf with a Lapras and you were actually sitting on it.
Yes, oh my god.
Or you could
or Sun and Moon, yeah.
Or you could just choose from the Pokemon you've caught. Like, which one do you
want
to
use? Yeah, just hop on their back.
And you know what? I think I remember saying I wanted to talk about following Pokemon, and then I didn't.
Yes. Yeah, I was waiting to get back to that.
So, following Pokemon are not allowed in any buildings. They're not allowed in any caves. A good chunk of them have a lot of trouble staying at your speed.
With you. Yes.
And they get in my way sometimes.
Sometimes they get in your way.
They have collision for whatever reason.
Why?
Following Pokemon are fascinating to me, but for exactly 0 good reasons.
Yeah.
It's great that it's great that they added them because that's something that people like. But when you look at what Let's Go did with following Pokemon, which is seamlessly integrating them into the gameplay and actually making them unique, it makes this look so antiquated. Even compared to the Sword and Shield DLC, which had following Pokemon, they're properly scaled there, and they move for the most part, move at your speed. But this has 3 problems. They are, A, not properly sized, and some of them have terrible animations, which is just stupid.
Well,
yeah,
like,
exactly.
Also talking about Gyarados, a lot of the snake Pokemon, like, I don't know if you saw, there was a video of Ekans.
Ekans?
He's still wrapped around. He's just being dragged. Like, it's like somebody just clicked on the JPEG and moved it throughout the picture. Like, he's not moving.
Same problem with Milotic and Rayquaza as well.
Well, Milotic kind of just is like floating, but it's just straight. Rayquaza, since it's curled, you get to imagine in your head, oh, it is flying or whatever.
But it's also the size of a puppy.
Yeah, but Ekans, I think, is the worst offender of it.
That's true. Yeah. But I mean, I honestly, the following Pokemon, I think, are one of the worst offenders of that. This did not get the budget that it needed, because those Pokemon have running animations. They have properly scaled models. Why aren't those in the game? I mean, the running animations for these Pokemon have existed since Gen 7, and they have not updated the models of the Pokemon since Gen 6. So they have the information, but I think it was just probably slightly too hard for them to implement in the time that they were allotted, which is just very frustrating, and it makes every element of having your Pokemon out in the environment underwhelming. I mean, the fact that you can run into them and get stuck on them, as I did multiple times, or they're just too slow and you can run away from them, or they get caught on the environment. They have terrible pathfinding AI, so they get caught on a bench or whatever and just bye, I guess.
They teleport, like they go back in their ball and they come back out next to you.
Yeah.
And then
my Kadabra just levitates and I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah. And then so in the Sword and Shield DLC, there's this really interesting thing where if you have it water Pokemon, most of them, because there's no surf in that game, it's just your bike becomes able to drive on water. That's a whole thing we'll get into later. Some of the water Pokemon will follow you. Here, none of your water Pokemon will surf with you next to you on the barrel.
Yeah.
I think it's worth stressing that I don't completely put this on the devs. I think it's worth stressing that, because you bring up good points, Tucker, with the allotted time and maybe some budget, and they had help, but it's their first game, and I honestly feel like they probably got treated like they've been here before, and I don't. Clearly, they haven't. You know what I mean?
Anytime you're going to have these rushes, that's always going to come from the executives more so than the devs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
I place the problem on the producers, and Pokemon Company as a whole wanting to have an entry every year has been detrimental to the series. Sword and Shield should have had another year in the oven, but they had all these marketing deals, and they needed the anime to start, and the plushies and everything. This exists to fill the slot between Sword and Shield, the end of Sword and Shield, and Legends Arceus / Gen 9 whenever that ends up coming out. This does feel like, oh, well, Legends Arceus is actually like interesting and ambitious, so we need something to hold them over. They've been asking for Gen 4. Let's hand it off to another team, which has never happened before in the history of Pokemon, and see what they can do.
And I think that the Pokemon Company taking on another developer may be to its benefit. Now, keep in mind, Game Freak does not do every single Pokemon game. I don't think they did Pokemon Snap. Pokemon Cafe Mix is another developer. Pokemon Unite,
just the mainline games.
It's just the mainline ones. But the time, and this might just be because I'm upset about it, I don't think the time to get experimental is with a remake, because your remakes have always kind of been whatever the current gen standards are of graphics and gameplay.
Yeah,
we're doing that.
I can see arguments. I can see arguments for both, though. I can see why the time to be experimental would be a remake, because you're almost guaranteed a certain like install base if you're making a remake of a beloved game. I understand what you're saying. I totally get it. I just think that could totally be twisted, and you can be like, the time to take a chance is on using this one mechanic in this remake and see how it's perceived. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
I feel like it goes both ways. But we're running a little late on time, so I just want to bring up two stupid things that I just want to get out there before I forget. What's our squads? Because you said that there's like a team, and mine seems like the basic team. Are your guys' teams the basic teams?
Surprisingly, no. But part of it is.
Yeah, I've tried my best to steer away from that. The only elements of that quote-unquote classic Sinnoh team are my starter, which is Torterra, and I have Luxray. But elsewise, I have... What I beat the Elite Four with was Torterra, Luxray, Palkia, Jirachi, because they give you 3 mythical Pokemon in this game for whatever fucking reason.
Yeah, I was like, not using it, not doing it.
No, yeah, exactly. And then a Rapidash and a Gastrodon. That was my team.
Okay. Cool. So, a coworker of mine, like, again, what I said about, like, a lot of people in my job got this game. Mm-hmm. And that's been a lot of fun. Just, they'll come up to me and be like, so where are you at? And like, I know that they're talking about Pokemon. And we're talking about what teams we're using. We're talking about what point of the game
we're in. That's the best.
Like, and that's been so fun with this. Again, like, I've been trashing on this game and telling you reasons that I'm disappointed. But it's like... I'm disappointed because I know you could do better. I know I sound like your father right now, listener.
100%.
I know I sound like every person's father right now, but like, I just want it to be better because I am having so much fun. Like, at the end of the day, it's still me going back to Sinnoh, which I've never officially done since I played Platinum. Like, I've never went back to the older games, especially because those ones run very slow on the DS engine.
Yes.
But... So a coworker of mine was doing this thing. He's like, hey, I think you should do this with me, where we are only going to make a team using Gen 4 Pokemon. Yeah,
Sinnoh region specific introduced
exactly.
Pokemon. Sure. Yeah, so that's a great idea.
Mine was going to be partially the basic team of Infernape, Staraptor, Roserade, Frostlass, Luxray, Gastrodon, but with Luxray I wrote /Electivire, because if anyone's ever listened to me talk about Pokemon before, Elekid and Electivire are my favorite Pokemons. The second I can get one, I use one. Shout out to Camille from Pokeramble, who traded me an Electrizer and then let me do the trade on my Electabuzz so I could get it to Electivire. So now I have him.
Nice.
And as I went through the game, and Staraptor's awesome, and Staraptor's very cool, I was like, I have 3 physical attackers, so I've actually replaced my Staraptor with a Togekiss. So that's mine right now.
That's hard to get, too.
In every game I've ever played, I always have at least one OG Pokemon, one Gen 1. I have to have something that feels like home in my party. I don't know why. It's every time.
I know the second I go post-game, I'm probably going to... I have a Houndour, or a Houndoom, I'm going to level up, which is also weird that they give you Houndoom, but Houndour is not in the underground at all. Like, you have to breed for Houndour, but...
is that how you pronounce it? Houndour?
I've heard it both ways, Dower and Doer.
I say Houndour.
Yeah. Though Dower actually makes sense because that's like Dread and Boom.
By the spelling too. Yeah.
No, it's a sheesh. You might have just caught me in an error there.
See, I'm still saying Houndour. Okay. And then I had other people say Houndour. I was like, okay, I guess.
Fun story because Pokemon was like in our like early childhoods. Like I couldn't even like basically read anything, right? Mm-hmm. So the Pokemon Farfetch'd, right? When you're a child, what the fuck does that mean? What is this apostrophe thingy? What is that? So I couldn't read because I'm a baby.
Can you imagine being a Gen 7 baby and having Komo-o, Hakamo-o, and type null? Being like, what the hell is this?
Or Tapu-Cuckoo.
Yeah, Tapu Bulu, Tapu Lele, Tapu Fini. Yeah, that would be insane.
For the longest time, far-fetched was Fariched D.
Fariched D.
Because I couldn't read, and I'm stupid.
No,
so for so long, it took me way too long to actually reread Fariched D and realized, oh,
I
that's
not it.
One.
Go on.
As a kid, when I think I rented Crystal Version at one point, I was playing through it. Suicune shows up. Suicune is very important to Crystal Version.
I love Suicune.
Not only was I a dumb kid that was like just learning how to read, I also have I have ADHD. So I just kind of looked at most of the letters and the general order they were in and went, I'll figure it out on my own. So for a very large majority of my life, in my head luckily, because it wasn't until I watched a video that I heard someone pronounce it correctly, I called it Susuine.
No, that's actually not I legitimately have a friend who also did that exact same thing.
That was Susuine?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I swear on my life.
Do they stick to it to this day?
He and I joke about it whenever we're talking. Whenever Suicune comes up in conversation, we're like, oh, that's a funny thing. But
there are legit moments where I have to pause and not say Fariched D. Not because I can't read now, but because it's ingrained in there from so long ago, I hate it.
Was Surfetch the problem for you?
No, Surfetch probably helped me, honestly, with reading that name correctly.
But no, also where there is like this little part inside me that's always like, Susui, just fucking
exactly. It's somewhere. It's somewhere in the brain bank. It doesn't need to be there, but it's there. One last thing that I wanted to. Did you guys buy like an outfit, like a look? If so, which one? Because I bought like the beanie Eevee jacket, and I love it. I think that looks really good on the art, and that I was bashing. I thought the outfits look good.
So I have a Twitter post about this.
I think I saw this.
Yeah, Tucker, I'll let you go, and then I'll go grab the thing.
So I honestly knew that the trainer customization was in the game because it was in one of the trailers, but it's not very. They don't like introduce that mechanic to you very clearly. You have to kind of discover it on your own.
It's most things in this game, in my experience.
So I found the place where you can buy different costumes, but I decided to just not change my costume because if I'm going to try to eke out any nostalgia from this game, I should just be using my dumb little Lucas guy with the big red hat. Like that's my childhood there, so I just didn't. But also I find the trainer customization really disappointing in this game. Of course, it's because they have to scale it down to a chibi guy, but every other Pokemon game that has had trainer customization has done it 7 or 8 times better than this.
It's customization. It's not preset outfits.
I'm with you. They're expensive. They're always expensive. But I'm with you. I will say, like again, I've been bashing on the art. I think the outfits I think the outfits improve the art. Yeah. I understand. I understand the nostalgia aspect. Yeah. I didn't play it before, so like it.
Of course.
Did nothing.
And you're not even using the platinum clothes, Tucker?
No,
he is right. Oh no, you're using.
No, I'm just using the default one. I mean,
default for that.
It's not. Especially from above, it's not that different.
True.
I mean, you still got the big red hat.
Although
I got the beanie. Beanie. It's just the beanie. Yeah. I'll be honest. It's just the beanie look that I'm like, cool. This is my guy. Anytime I can get a beanie in any game, I have a beanie. Just saying.
Little trick of the trade. There is a NPC in Snowpoint City that will give you special capsule stickers if you are wearing the winter style or platinum style outfit in that city. So just change into that. Go to Snowpoint, fly back, change back. Anyway. So there's something called the cyber style in this set of games that looks
finding the picture.
Yeah, that looks like this.
Focusing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
And I basically own this jacket. Like I have.
So is that why you always do that one? Is that what you're saying?
Well, this was never in the originals. This is new. They made this just for this game. And I saw this and I went, no fucking way, because this is like one of my favorite jackets. So I have a tweet about it where that's what my guy's wearing, and that's
I saw that tweet,
and I have shown a lot of my coworkers. I was like, guys, look at this fucking shit.
Halloween's gonna be dope. Let's go.
Hey, yeah, you can cosplay as a Pokemon character.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, the handful of things that this game does add, I do think are fine. They are improvements, but with trainer customization existing at all, they could have not done that. I'm glad they at least tried a little bit. With the Pokemon hideaways in the underground, that makes the underground much more interesting. It's still not very interesting. I'm not a huge fan of the Grand Underground, but I'm glad they added that. contests are actually worse, I think. The secret bases are worse, but this game is so hit or miss on a lot of things that it really just, for me, comes down to a game of missed potential, because Sinnoh could work so well in a big open Sword and Shield engine with Mount Coronet looming over you in the background and varied environments and stuff, but they decided to steer away from that, and I think it's really disappointing, and it kind of makes me feel like this game doesn't have its own identity, and I find that very frustrating as someone who obviously grew up with Sinnoh, has a lot of nostalgia for it, and think they could do better, and they should do better, because as I said, I think this is the worst game in the series, and Austin, I know you don't have a DS or a 3DS, but if you ever come across one and have one, I implore you to try out Gen 6 and 7, because personally, as a lifelong Pokemon fan, those are my two favorite games, X and Y and Sun and Moon. So I think there's a lot of quality to be found elsewhere in this series, but for new Pokemon fans, just play Let's Go or Sword and Shield, and for old Pokemon fans, just play any of the other Pokemon games. That's sort of my closing thoughts.
Like, I think, just before you go, Jordan, I think nothing in this game blows me away, but like I said before, what I'm looking for in a Pokemon game is that it feels like Pokemon. You get into that rhythm right away. Yeah. You're catching your first Pokemon. You're leveling things up, and it's not hard to mess up. But they have that. It's there. It's present. It's not bad. It's not done terribly. It's there. It's fine. It's serviceable. I do think there's a sense of comfort food to the game.
100%.
And I do think there is value in that. And I think, like, we're bashing on it. I'd want to try to be a little more positive. Let me say this. If the game was overly too boring or overly bad, I wouldn't be playing it. I am still playing this game. I still intend to play this game. I know you guys have more hooks because of the nostalgia. I don't. So I think that's an important testament to this game, that it's good enough for me to play, because I've played Pokemon games and tried them and then not finished them. Sure. This one has enough for me because of the new atmosphere that I'm in and its comfort food, that I think it's good enough for me to continue on. And Pokemon games are not short games. So, like, the commitment here is like hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of playing this game. And I do not do that for a lot of games. I don't even replay games that often because I hate that. I need to stay in the times. I need to stay current in playing video games. So the fact that I'm doing that for this game, I still think that adds value to it from my perspective.
Yeah.
So.
100%. No, I think that all that is totally valid. This game is functional. It is a Pokemon game where you can catch Pokemon. All of that is there. And I don't take that away from this game being... It's not a terrible video game. It is totally playable. I just think that the problem comes from the fact that Pokemon is so iterative, and people complain about it stagnating, and this is, frankly, the most stagnant it's ever been. This game doesn't have its own identity, and when compared to the other games, I just think that there's so much more charm, personality, and care put into all the Game Freak games that people get Game Freak a lot of shit, and deservedly so, but the team didn't have the experience to make this game what it could be, and I think that's just a testament to the money-making machine of big Pokemon trying to get a game out every year.
Big Pokemon.
Exactly.
No, I like that.
Big Papa Pokemon.
Like, I think I'm somewhere in the middle where if a kid was like, I want to play these games I heard about, I'd be like, you have a Switch. Like, don't pull out a DS and play the originals. Just play these.
Of course. Yeah.
And it's basically a one-to-one experience, which is, I think, it's... the best and worst aspects of it is that I think they take the one-to-one too far in certain areas. I think that's really where my issues with it come down to. I also think that launching the game without any form of Pokemon Home connectivity or any sort of a trade system was also disappointing, because I fucking love Wonder Trading. That is, like, to me...
Wonder Trading is in this game, is it not?
No.
My friend was Wonder Trading.
I saw TikToks about it, Jordan. I think you might.
I think you're wrong. I mean, I never did it.
Up and people were like, you have to wait till the GWS, which is originally the GTS building, is available, which is not a thing yet.
Maybe they patched it or something? I think at launch.
I think that might be after you pass a certain point in the game or something like that.
I go back to Jubilife City regularly. That is something that they're gonna bring back when they add Pokemon Home functionality.
Okay, hold on. You could be right.
Your friend might have just been in a global union room where he was just meeting with people and just throwing whatever Pokemon at them and agreeing on a trade.
You're right. No, I think he just lied to me 100%. I think my friend just was lying to me.
I went up to a stranger in a union room. That sounds worse on paper. But like, I went up to just somebody in a union room, and there's no way to communicate. They don't let you speak for the best. This is a kid's game, and pedophiles exist.
Yeah.
But like, so you just kind of have to show them your Pokemon, and they don't know what level it is. So it's kind of a wonder trade in a way, but. In my opinion, like wonder trading is an S tier feature, and I want to see that
100%
in more Pokemon games. Because also, it's great that I had friends that were able to trade me in Elekid, and again that Kumail was able to trade me in Electrizer and let me do the trade. I could have just done that through the GTS. I could have put a Magby up for an Elekid and just done it that way. Like I'm sure there's a million of those.
Yeah, of course. So just to get the regional exclusives, 100%.
Yeah, no, and like that felt very weird to me, and I don't know why that was a move that they made.
And you mentioned the no Pokemon Home stuff. Didn't we just say that these are the people that made Pokemon Home?
Correct.
Or whatever?
Yeah.
So like
Pokemon Home, I believe, is being the functionality is being added.
Yeah, but like not for another few months.
I just think it's
which is ridiculous.
If they made this thing, or at least parts of it, you'd think it'd be here at launch, right? Because they made the damn thing.
Here's the thing. I've got a couple theories.
Okay.
One, I wonder if it has to do with Dexit.
I mean, it could be
that's possible.
It could be the time and budget that we've already mentioned.
It could have to do with the fact that there are some Pokemon still missing from Sword and Shield. I need to know what the number is now after these remakes. I would really like to know how many are actually still missing. Secondly, is they called these one-to-one remakes. And right now it has no way of connecting to any other games other than themselves, which means only the Pokemon in the Sinnoh Dex are what you can get. You can't actually complete a national Dex.
So you think it might be
right?
So
that's true because a lot of Pokemon to get them in actual Gen 4
you have to have it like in the
bottom slot. Yes, 100%. You use Pal Park.
Yeah, and now that's
Pal Park was awesome.
Now that's Ramanas Park or Raminus Park, and I think you're going to be able to catch a lot of older Pokemon there. I'm just going to get to I don't know if you could catch any Pokemon, or if any Pokemon sprites for Gens 5 through 7 or 8 exist in this code.
In the code. No, I sincerely doubt it, 100%.
And that's the other thing is, with Fire Red and Leaf Green, you could trade Hoenn Pokemon to them, even though they do not exist. With Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, you could trade Kalos Pokemon to those.
Gen 6 was the best example of that, because within just the Gen 6 games of ORAS and X and Y, you could complete a national dex. You get all 703 Pokemon, whatever it was.
To say that it's one-to-one doesn't mean that, listen, we have the Fairy type, so, you guys are obviously using modern mechanics to an extent. You can't make the cutoff at 493 when we're at 8-something now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can't even evolve Eevee into Sylveon.
Could you try again?
Did that pick up?
Yeah, at least for me it did.
I don't know what I said that's triggered Siri. My bad.
She's letting us know that we're running long.
Yeah,
that was the thing. Thanks, Siri.
That's my those are my final thoughts.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh well, Legends Arceus is just over a month away, which is wild, and that game looks phenomenal. So I'm very excited for that.
And I'm okay with.
I'm gonna be so let down if that one's also.
Yeah. Here's the thing.
I'm just saying.
I think they did a very good job of tempering expectations a few months ago when they went, this is going to be experimental for Pokemon, yes. It's not going to be open world in the sense of like a GTA or a Breath of the Wild where every single inch of the map is reachable and scalable. I think they described it more like Monster Hunter World.
Yeah,
where
that's what I've heard.
It's like you're going to fast travel to a place and then that place is fully open world. So it's almost like there is 5 wild zones if we want to compare it to Sword and Shield, which I'm 100%. Cool with. Pokemon doesn't need to make the jump to 100% open world in one step. I'm okay with them taking steps to get there.
Yeah. Also, if this is the last thing I say on this podcast, cool. It gave birth to the wooden Pokeball, and I'm like, dude, that's fucking
awesome.
Dope.
It's awesome.
That's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
The only thing that I can hope for is that there's some element of time travel in Legends Arceus, and then we get to see Sinnoh in nice graphics.
Didn't I give you that idea, or did you already have that idea? Because I know I brought it up a long time ago, where I think there's time travel, and because of the whole Arceus thing, and not necessarily Arceus, but you understand what I'm getting at. And then I want it's not gonna do this, but I want so badly that we need to stop. But I want so badly to have the ending be like us starting the first gym. Or like one of the first gyms or something, you become the first gym leader.
See. Yeah,
and I'm like that would be the coolest shit.
So far behind that
you're the first champion of the Sinnoh region.
But I feel like they already did that in Alola.
I mean,
that's true. No, that story point.
I wanted to bring that up, and I haven't
thing.
played Sun and Moon.
No, it's fine. I think I've already figured out the story of Legends Arceus, which just hear me out. We know Sinnoh mythology is basically a copy of Christianity, or Christianity copied Sinnoh. We don't really know. But Arceus, God, he made his angels. Dialga, time, right?
Yeah.
Palkia, space. Giratina, antimatter. Giratina's kind of just like the devil because he was banished to his own world. 100%. I think we're getting the story of why Giratina was banished. Because we know that Pokemon are attacking humans and they have these glowing red eyes. And I think and Giratina's a ghost. I think Giratina's possessing these Pokemon and trying to kill humans, and Arceus is like, bad boy, into the distortion room.
Huh. Well, we'll be able to see very soon.
Yeah, we'll be seeing next month. Thank you for joining us, guys. This has been a long-winded, wonderful podcast, but it was a great discussion. Everyone's socials will be in the description down below. Make sure you give Tucker a follow over on his Twitter and at Backlog Banter, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.